Hello, hello. Hopefully my audio is okay. Merry post-Christmas to those who celebrate. And if you don't, happy holidays. It's been a bit of a minute. I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to continue Higurashi. Yippee! Righty. The preparation for tomorrow's festival is moving right along at the Furude Shrine. Vans and pickup trucks are bringing in tents and equipment, and the village youth group and some middle-aged men are unloading them. I heard Rika-chan was really sick. I hope she's okay. I heard she didn't go to school again today. I hope she gets better soon. Ah, Dr. Irie, how is Rika-chama doing? Well, she had a bad cold, but she's starting to get better. She still needs to take it easy, though. I just went to see them and told them to stay in bed. I see. Satoko-chan is sick too, huh? With both of them staying home and sick together, I'm sure they can't help but play around. Ha ha ha. Considering they got sick at the same time, Rika-chama and Satoko-chan are really close, huh? Ah, Kimiyoshi-san. Dr. Irie just told us that Rika-chama and Satoko-chan are starting to get better. Oh, I see. That's good. By the way, about tomorrow's performance, you don't think she'll be able to do it, do you? She says she's going to anyway. If you asked her, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to oblige. But as a doctor, even if she didn't have a fever today, I'd rather not let her do it. That's no good. Oryo-san! Rika-chama's getting better, but she still has to stay in bed. Well then, we can't force her and then see her collapse during the ceremony. People will say it's the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Well, the villagers are really worried. They say there might be a curse again this year. Besides, it's Satoko Hojo-chan and Rika-chama, you know. Some people are imagining some really horrible things. Nitwits! Rika-chama is the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. If she was cursed, then the whole village would perish. Don't even suggest things like that. No, you're right. I'm sorry. Dr. Irie, can I go see them? Please let them rest for a while. They're recovering, and they're at an age where they want to play. Someone visiting them would be too stimulating, and they're sure to get out of bed. Ha 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 ha, I see. I guess I shouldn't, eh? Doctor, please take care of them, all right? Not just Rika-chama, but Satoko-chan too. Really? That's surprising. Oryo-san always acts as if she doesn't even see Satoko-chan. But she just asked me to take care of Satoko-chan too. Sure, absolutely. I'll make both Rika-chan and Satoko-chan better. You can count on me. If something happens, people will say it's the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Hey, Dr. Irie. Don't you think it's foolish to talk about things like curses when we're in the 1980s? When people have gone to the moon? Yes, I do. During the dam conflict, we used stories like that for our own needs. The dam conflict is now over, but as long as we keep talking about the curse, the dam conflict will never end. Are you saying that if Satoko-chan dies, people will say that it's the curse of the dam conflict? The dam conflict is over. If a village kid gets a cold, it's the elder's job to worry about her. That's all. I already know what Oryo-san wants to say. I want her to actually say it, but if I made her, she might get angry. This is more than enough. When she talks about the dam conflict, she doesn't just mean the war that they waged against the construction itself. She's also including how the Hojo family was ostracized after it was over. She's saying that the dam conflict is over, including everything that happened as a result of it, and that's why she told me to take care of Satoko-chan. I'm sure Satoko-chan will appreciate your concern. Ha 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 ha! Like that little rascal would ever understand an old person's feelings! Oryo-san left, laughing. I wasn't the only one watching her leave. Kimiyoshi-san and some other elders did the same. They all understand what Oryo-san wants to say. The dam conflict is now over. Satoko-chan is a healthy girl. If she's down with a fever, it must be a terrible cold. Dr. Irie, please take care of them. Since we aren't allowed to visit them, please let both of them know how worried we all are. Sure. They'll be happy to hear that. I vow to myself. Takano-san is more than likely planning something for tomorrow, taking advantage of people's belief in this curse. I can't let that happen. The curse of Oyashiro-sama will end before it can happen for a 5th time. I'm sure of that. Oh, she couldn't accomplish the 48-hour operation alone. He would need the help from someone else. Oh, she called up both Kumagai and the old man from forensics and told them everything. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is a dangerous bridge we're crossing here. If I get a simple warning, that's okay. But if I get reprimanded, they'll probably take away my pension. Ha 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 ha! Hey, Oishi! I hear you always gather your colleagues at the mahjong parlor next door and threaten them every time you have a dangerous mission. It's the same old thing, right? Yeah, Oishi-san. Why don't you say, if you don't want to lose your pension, leave while I count to 10 with more oomph in your voice like you usually do. Unless you say it that way, it just doesn't sound right. Well, this is seriously dangerous, Kuma-chan. Are you really prepared to lose your pension? Why don't you count to 10 then? Fine, I'll count. If you don't want to lose your retirement money, leave before I count to 10. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got it, Kuma-chan. You're serious. But still, are you sure you're okay with it? Yes, I'm really psyched up from what I heard from Akasaka-san the other day. I became a policeman because I believe in justice. Someday, I want to be able to talk about the things I've been through like Akasaka-san does. A dangerous mission? That sounds fantastic. Besides, your ideas have never failed before. So if you think this operation will succeed, then I'm all for it. Ha 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 ha! How nice it is to be young. You know, Akasaka-kun's become quite the inspiration for him. He keeps talking about how he wants to be involved in secret investigations now. Ha! Well, it is nice to be young, I guess. And what about you? Huh, I'm in. Actually, unless I help you, this operation won't succeed. I've been neglecting my health all these years. Frankly, I don't think I have much longer to live. As a man, I want to do something grand before I die. That's crazy. My, you two sure are fearless. That's why you declare a Richi, even with 3 flip Dora. What are you saying, Oishi-san? As a man, I can't refuse. If you're going to cut something, cut it right in the middle. That's what you always say. He's not wrong. I get it. If your necks end up on the line, I'll be responsible. I'll have to make some preparations first. You want to start this early tomorrow morning, right? I have to check with both forensics and the autopsy department. Oishi, when all this is over, you have to treat me to something big, okay? Of course. Look forward to it. But please make sure to be careful who you talk to, alright? They told me there are some spies at the police station. Don't worry, I know who I can trust. Count on me for that, at least. Alright, I'm fired up. My detective spirit is burning bright. It had taken Oishi all night to come to a decision, but those two had decided immediately. He couldn't help but question himself. Well, they're not on the brink of retirement, so... Okay, I have some errands to run, so I'm going to get going. Kuma-chan, could you please take the old man home? Thank you for coming here on your day off. Nah, don't worry about that. It's been a while since something got my blood boiling. In all the years of my life, this is the first big stage to really test my manhood. I'm not afraid to enjoy this. Thank you very much, old man. Kuma-chan, too. Oishi thanked them after seeing them off, although they couldn't hear. Oishi stopped by a flower shop. He bought a bouquet of balloon flowers. Usually, the purple ones are the most popular, and Oishi was fond of that color, too. But today, he didn't buy purple flowers, but got unusual white balloon flowers instead. With the bouquet in hand, he headed to the cemetery across from the flower shop. The date was June 18th. The real anniversary would be tomorrow, but as Oishi had to work on Watanagashi every year, he usually commemorated it on the previous day instead. It was the day before the anniversary of the death of the old man. The one Oishi considered a best friend, a brother, and a father. Every year. I promise you that I'll find your right arm, but I still haven't had any luck yet. Oishi spoke to the grave. He laid the bouquet of white balloon flowers down on top of it. But I've finally got the chance to get close to the truth. You know, it's kind of funny. As it turns out, the Sonozaki family had nothing to do with it. I kept promising you year after year that I'd bring Oryo here and have her grovel in apology. But I was so wrong this whole time. I don't know what to say. You'd probably smack me if you were here. I thought I knew the winning tiles, and after countless safe discards, I got slammed with a bad hit. If I hadn't made that assumption and focused on filling my hand, then I might have been able to get a big one. I haven't made any progress at all. It's the same with Mahjong. I'm a fool for getting ideas into my head and then doubting them even a bit. Oh, she already had a vague idea. The way Iria had phrased it, he could already guess. There was no dark secret behind the old man's dismemberment murder. The events that followed were separate incidents. That particular murder was an individual incident, and it had nothing to do with anything else. Since the main culprit was the only one who wasn't caught, Oishi needed someone to blame, and the mysterious Sonozaki family was the perfect target. The drama of revenge that Oishi believed in never existed. I'm thinking of doing something really dangerous. Considering the risk, there isn't much in terms of reward. If anything, I might find out the truth. But I feel like I can finally forgive myself. Oishi bowed deeply to the grave. And then he heard footsteps behind him. It had to be someone else who knew the old man. That person can't come on the day of Watanagashi every year either, so they come on the day before, just like Oishi does. They always bring blue hydrangeas. Purple balloon flowers and those blue flowers don't go well together. That's the reason why Oishi always picks white ones. Usually, the hydrangeas are already there by the time he arrives, but as Oishi had his secret meeting with Kumagai early in the morning, he came straight to the graveyard afterward and arrived before this person did. Visiting a grave isn't a race. It's a spiritual matter. Oishi was curious about the other person who brings flowers every year, so he looked up. Well, well. Are you visiting someone's grave too? Oishi stated the obvious. But from one glance, he could guess everything. Upon seeing the hydrangeas in her arms, it all made sense. Oh my, aren't you supposed to be working? What are you doing here? Akane Sonozaki laughed as she handed a bouquet of hydrangeas to her daughter, Shion. Shion, not knowing what to do, was caught between her mother and Oishi. Hey, how long are you going to stand there? Come on, move over. Oishi moved over as told and spoke. So you're the one leaving hydrangeas every year. Aren't they beautiful? They're from my backyard. Hydrangeas are beautiful in June. Your balloon flowers are fairly unusual. White ones, huh? They're nice. Mr. Oishi? Excuse me. Can I put the flowers down? Shion knelt down in front of the grave and got the flowers ready. She put the hydrangeas in the vase alongside the balloon flowers. The flowers looked beautiful in the vase together, reminding their onlookers that summer was about to start. What a coincidence! They match very well. It makes a nice contrast with the white and blue. I saw blue hydrangeas every year I came. I thought blue flowers wouldn't go well with purple ones. I see. Then we should get along just fine, huh? Yeah, I guess. What's the matter? Anything unusual on the X-rays? You're being unusually quiet today and it's disturbing. Oh, do you think that might be it? Since you've been good to us, I'll bring some hydrangeas to your grave too, don't worry. Oh, by the way, you still owe us at one of our shops, don't you? I'll bring a bill too. Oh boy, you two never run out of things to say, do you? Well, I don't plan on leaving this world quite yet. It won't be long until my retirement, but I'm still going strong. That's good then. As a citizen of Okinomiya, I'm glad to hear such reliable words. Their conversation should have been coded in social courtesies, yet something felt a little off about it. You tell me one thing. The Guardians and the old man, the site manager, they didn't get along, did they? So, why bring flowers for him? No, we didn't get along at all. We were mighty enemies, right, Shion? Yeah, that old geezer was a idiot that pissed me off. I bit him, I elbowed his stomach, and I even scratched up his car with a 10-yen coin. Shion, the statute of limitations isn't up yet. Shion stuck out her tongue and hid behind her mother in embarrassment. So if you hated him that much, why do you come here? Well, the damn conflict is over. Although he was our enemy, we did many unpleasant things to him too. What, you don't get it? The war is over now. Even in a rugby game, once a game is over, no one is on opposing sides. Nothing more than that. Akane said it as though it was a normal thing, but Oishi just couldn't understand. First of all, they hated each other. They hated each other. They spat at each other. How could they even feel like bringing flowers to his gravesite? However, Akane said that it was normal. Their moral standards weren't matching up. Actually, you're the one I can't understand. I think the damn conflict has ended, yet in your head it's still going, isn't it?
Oh no, it's over for me. I can't even imagine hearing all that noise anymore. You've got to be kidding me.
Then what's wrong with the Sonozaki family visiting his gravesite? Come on, move over. I brought something for him too. Akane took out a small package from her bag and put it down in front of the grave.
I see that package every year. What's in it?
This is ohagi, specially made by the Virago. Drinkers usually don't like sweets, so she made them without sugar.
Are you saying that Oryo-san made ohagi for the site manager's anniversary?
She does it every year. You did just say that you see it every time you come here, didn't you? Oishi was stunned. Oryo was the biggest hardliner for the Onigafuchi Guardians, no question about it. Oishi had believed for a long time that she was the mastermind behind the old man's murder. Because of that, he just couldn't believe that she had been making him ohagi every year for his anniversary. Hey, don't give me that look. Let's not do this anymore, okay?
Do what?
Pretend that the Sonozaki family shouldn't visit the site manager's grave. It won't be long now until it's 1990. By then, even the Emperor might be dead. How much longer are you planning to drag out this war, which has already ended?
Please. Don't even want to think about the damn conflict. There's nothing better than peace.
The government was at fault. They should think about what they've done. But we were at fault too. That's why we have regrets. And when things are done, that's it. There's no point in dragging them out. We need to wrap up the era of our forefathers, and young people need to create a new one. What happened was very unfortunate, and I regret that the old man had to die. If he was still alive, we could have shared a toast together and made up. But he's dead. So we can't reconcile. I think that's very sad.
Well, that's what happens when someone dies.
But you're still alive.
That's right, I am. And so are you.
Then maybe a day will come when we can get along, huh?
Well, I don't know about that.
Shion, why don't you give this to the priest? And then wait in the car, okay?
Sure.
Akane took out an envelope from her pocket and gave it to Shion. Shion took the envelope, bowed to Oishi, and then ran off.
During the damn conflict, I thought she was such a feisty little girl. She sure has grown up.
How long do you think it's been since then? She's hit puberty, and we even went bra shopping together. She isn't a little girl anymore. That's how long it's been.
That was unnecessary. Yeah, many years have passed. Time is dense for young people, but diluted for old folk. The old ones are
the ones who don't change. But young people keep growing. And before we know it, they pass us by. Then we simply withdraw ourselves and watch over them. See how it works?
Yeah, I guess. I can't believe I'm getting a talking to from the demon princess of Shishibone, Akane Sonozaki.
Hey, I can't believe you still remember that name. I'm a lady of Shishibone nowadays, you know. I'd appreciate it if you kept that name to yourself.
Yeah, I guess since the damn conflict is over now, huh?
That's right. It's all over. The two of them watched Shion and the priest exchange words in front of the main temple building. Both were silent, but the air between them was comforting. There was no breeze, and a cabbage-white butterfly flitted around them. You're supposed to be at work. How about a round? Up for some fresh cold sake?
Maybe not today. I have to drive, and so do you, right?
That's too bad. Well, maybe next time, eh? Yeah, next time. Something that had been sitting inside Oishi for a long time had started to dissipate. Something that had coagulated was melting away. I'd better get going. Your daughter's waiting too, right? Yeah, she is. We've gone through a lot, but let's forget about it all. How about that? We'll have a party one of these days. We will. Akane turned around with a big smile on her face. But all of a sudden, it changed into an impish grin. Hey, Officer Oishi! Since we made up just now. I got a traffic ticket yesterday, and I was so mad that I ripped it in half. Do you think you could do something about that? Just go to the nearest police station for that. Maybe I can give you a priority spot in the waiting line. What are friends even for, huh? Their laughter echoed under the blue sky. Dang, that's crazy. She thinks she can do anything, huh? Thank you for waiting, Nomura-san. No, sorry. At the moment, I'm talking to a woman over the phone. So, how's everything going? Going well. The festival is tomorrow. I see. That's good. First Lieutenant Tomitake will get into an accident tomorrow night. H-173, the medicine which was supposed to be destroyed, will be administered to him, and no matter what happens, it'll be a very pitiful end. What an interesting opening. We've already finished our forgery of the proceedings. It'll show that Lieutenant Colonel Irie was trying to sell your research to a foreign country so that he can continue it. And Tomitake's murder is a part of that. Yes, that'll be the first step for the board of directors to become suspicious of the Irie Institute. We're taking care of all that, so don't worry. Also, regarding that, what should we do if it happens? If what happens? What if First Lieutenant Tomitake agrees to join us? He isn't included in the takeover operation, is he? Well, no, because he's an auditor for the board. If he becomes our ally, that might be beneficial to us. According to our analysis, even if he changes his allegiance, there won't be much for us to gain. Why add another unnecessary worry to the operation? You're right. Sorry about that. I thought we might be able to use him for something, which is why I suggested it. We'll go with the original plan, then. I think that would be better. I'll get in touch with you again. Goodbye. For a while, I kept holding the telephone receiver, lost in thought. Then I put it down, and dialed a number that I'd become very familiar with. Hello, Economy Hotel Okinomiya. How may I assist you? Hello. Could you connect me to room 406, the one belonging to Tomitake? Please tell him Takano is calling. Sure, I'll connect you. One moment, please. The telephone operator put me on hold, leaving behind only electronic music. I waited for about a minute, and the operator came back on again. I'm sorry, the guest in room 406 is not in his room right now. Would you like to leave a message? That's okay. I already left a few of them. Do you know when he left the hotel? Do you know when he'll be back? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't answer that. I see. I'll call again. I put down the phone before the operator finished speaking. This is the third time I've tried calling him. I left a message telling him to call me back, but he hasn't. Why? Is he out taking photographs by himself? Or is he waiting for me behind the shrine where we usually meet? Who would think I would actually come all the way here expecting him to be waiting for me? I'm even surprised myself. People are in the middle of setting up for tomorrow's festival. Tents are being put up for food stalls, and preparations for various events are taking place. It's almost too noisy for me, but with people shouting as they work, plus the noise from the batteries for the stalls. Soon, I reached the back of the shrine before realizing it. This is probably the best view in the whole village. This is where Jiro-san and I usually meet. Just maybe, he's waiting for me here. Of course, that's just wishful thinking. God will never grant my wishes. He only has a bit of fun when testing me. I look down at the village below, letting the breeze blow through my hair. He usually follows me around while he stays in Hinamizawa. He persistently asks if I want to go out to eat, go for a walk, or take some photographs with him. But he hasn't done any of that this visit. His behavior towards me has changed. Maybe it's because he heard about the horrible impression I left with the new board of directors. Maybe he thinks I'm a mad scientist because of that incident. I can feel that he's gradually losing interest in me. But I had my own complaints too. When I don't want him around, he's so persistent. But when I need him to listen to me, I can't get a hold of him. But... oh gosh. If I did get through to him, what would I even talk about? What could I talk to him about? Right after talking to someone about the plan to assassinate him. Why should he even answer my call? I'm simply running wildly, and when I reach the point of no return, I'll want to be forgiven. And I want him to do that for me. Just because he always does whatever I want him to do, and he shows up whenever I need him. Who would forgive someone like me, someone who has nowhere to go but hell? Would he forgive me out of sympathy? No way. Well, he'll be surprised. He'll just do his job and arrest me. I'm a member of the SDF after all, so what I'm doing is committing treason. I've been thinking about him a lot for the past few days, and just now, I realized something. He's not attractive at all as a man. He has no sense of humor or good taste. He has nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, he has a belly, but there's nothing appealing about him. He doesn't care about my schedule. He's persistent, and when I treat him nicely because I'm in a good mood, he becomes even more persistent. There really is absolutely nothing good about him. Despite his age, he tells me things like how the last time he held a woman's hand was when he did folk dancing at some summer camp. Furthermore, he says those things to make me laugh. He's hopeless. But more than anything, I can't stand when he completely ignores my feelings. I want to be alone sometimes. I don't want to do anything sometimes. Yet he drags me out, completely ignoring how I feel. That's why, even when I'm exhausted or I don't feel like doing anything, I end up going with him, which makes me laugh. I always thought that he just wore me out, yet I want him to drag me around. I'll probably never feel this way again, and yet he's not here. Do I really believe I don't want to spend time with him? Maybe I've just grown used to his abundant affection. When he took me out on a day I didn't want to do anything, I was in a bad mood at first. But after a while, I started to feel better and found myself having a lot of fun. If he was with me now, would he take me out to photograph birds like always? Would he happily explain it all with his know-how, even though I didn't ask? That'd be very boring and troublesome, but that's what I honestly want right now. Do I see my grandpa in him? I loved my grandpa. He gave me a purpose to live. I needed him. I loved Uncle Koizumi. He helped me with my dream. I needed him. And after both of them died, maybe I just sought their aspects in him. Am I starving for a protector? Maybe I'm so traumatized by my parents' accident that I need to have someone nearby to watch over me all the time. Maybe I'm still immature. My inner child is throwing a fit because she can't put together a toy, saying that if it's going to be broken anyway, she's going to break it herself. It won't just be my problem. It'll bring about huge, irreversible tragedy. But that's the only way to prove the truth of my grandfather's work. That belief allowed me to prepare up to this point. In just a few days, the top members of the government will be scrutinizing my grandfather's article, and, terrified by the worst-case scenario he predicted, they'll regret canceling our research and neglecting countermeasures as they pass their final resolution. That's when Grandfather's article will become the truth, his great work uplifted and his name carved into the pages of history. And then, he'll become a god. An eternal existence. And I will reveal the god worshipped as Oyashiro-sama to be the Hinamizawa syndrome, casting them down to earth. I'm going to complete the 5th year's curse of Oyashiro-sama with Jiro-san's death, as well as my own. I'll become the one who curses, not the one who is cursed. I'll be in the position to test instead of being tested. I will ascend to godhood. I'm going to make the curse a reality, and I'm going to kick the god of this place off her throne. And then, grandfather and I will be together forever. Gods don't get tested. Fate doesn't test gods. No grief will separate us. I will be with my grandpa forever. After that, we're going to work on our research together in that study, filled with the smell of formalin. A scene from Happier Days. Grandpa's at his desk, writing down something. I'm in a good mood, lying on my stomach on the carpet right behind him, while flapping my legs and humming a tune. I know it sounds like a lot of hoopla. Oh my god. Ricochet, is that how you say your name? If not, let me know. Welcome. She is definitely a little crazy with it. Been insane for a while. I help him with his research by organizing his books as if I were playing with blocks. To return to those times is my only wish. Of course, if I could go back that far, I'd want my parents to be alive too. If I could play with my grandpa's books while listening to my mother cooking in the kitchen and my father flipping through his newspaper, that would complete my happy world. Oh, let's go. I know how to read. Yeah, how are you doing? It would be my ideal childhood. But that world doesn't have a door to the outside world. So I can't go over to my friend's house. Because if I did go to my friend's house, there wouldn't be anybody there when I returned. Nobody. Nobody. Because they'd all have died in a train accident. So I don't want an outside world. I want to stay in my house with my parents and my grandfather. I am a doctor after all. I can analyze myself. I know that what I'm wishing for is proof of my immaturity. But if I know that much, then why do I still long for a parental figure in Jiro-san? Even as I plan an operation which includes his death, I'm still trying to hang on to him. If I'm going to betray people so that I can become a god, then I should remain a villain until my final moments. But if I'd rather be a lonely little girl, then I should remain modest and humble until my final moments. Either way, if it is my way of life, nobody can criticize me for it. Doing good was the plot so far? Oh, well, this is the 8th game in the series, so it's the very last one, and we're nearing the finish. But basically, there's this disease in the village called Hinamizawa, and it makes people go crazy. This person is studying the disease, but her research is being shut down, so as a final act of, like, revenge on the people that want to shut it down, she's gonna kill off the entire village by activating their disease. And she's preparing for that right now, but in order to do that, she's gotta kill someone that she probably has a crush on, and she's kind of conflicted about it. So that's where we're at right now. It's like right before the plan is supposed to be put into action. But then we have like a main squad of kids and a couple adults that are gonna try to stop her. Because if I believe it is right, then all I can do is go on without listening to such criticism. But I still can't decide. So I want somebody to criticize me. Nobody has ever criticized my way of life. That's why I want to hear someone do it. I want someone to tell me my way of life is wrong. I want Jiro-san to tell me that I've done such a stupid thing, and I want him to slap me. Such masochistic desires speak a great deal as to how I'm rejecting my present self. Am I really still longing for a parent? I'm too old to call myself immature. Even if I do, nobody else will. No matter how immature I am inside, people will treat me as a grown person. They will say I possess an adult's responsibility and proper judgment, and that they've brought me this far already. Then I'll be judged before the devil. Will I still plead not to judge my immature self as a grown-up? Common bored goth girl shenanigans? I suppose so, in a way, yeah. Am I going to act that pathetically even in front of the devil? I'm already going to hell, yet I can't completely become a devil. I hate the idea of hell, yet I refuse to try and repent. My mind can only float in a lake of blood, drifting as I drown. If only Jiro-san was here. My mind would clear up as I played along with his insensitive chatter. Why isn't he around when I need him the most? This is the last chance I'll have to spend time with him. I hate how immature I am. Becoming so insecure just because he isn't around. I found myself before the offertory box. I came here when the Idia Clinic's construction had ended and the research at the Idia Institute was about to begin. I remember how bravely I challenged the god of this place. I was full of hope and ambition. After going through many hardships, I finally came this far. I even vowed I would become a god. I did so in front of the god of this place. I can vaguely recall my grandfather telling me a story similar to that. That's right. It was the story of the Tower of Babel. When there was only one language in this world, all people lived in one place with one will. In a display of their authority, they started to build a tower that would reach heaven. God got angry because these people had forgotten how to show respect to him. He believed all of man gathered to commit such an affront because they all shared one language and one will. So their communion was shattered. People were thrown into disorder, and they were given many different languages so they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other. As they couldn't communicate with each other, many left, and the tower which challenged heaven fell to ruin. Something like that, anyway. I'm not sure what the lesson is, but this is what my grandfather explained to me. Building a tower that reaches up to heaven is the greatest challenge for humans, but it is also a challenge to God. To challenge God was truly sinful, but as humans we couldn't help but test that untrodden peak. It's not easy to build a tower that's high enough to reach heaven. While they're building the tower, the people will fall into disharmony and lose to the mutual understanding that they once started with. Their united wills thrown into disarray.
Oh my gosh, my voice is dying.
Ugh! I've only been reading for 30 minutes. I'm so out of practice. This applies not just to a group of people, but can be said about one person as well. No matter how solid their will, the closer they come to heaven, the more limits God imposes on man. So even iron wills are sure to waver at some point. It's just too arrogant for humans to think that they can always carry out their original intentions. That must have been what my grandfather was thinking deep down. I'm sure he lost hope many times since nobody ever recognized the value of his research. Yet he believed in himself, and he believed that someday his work would be appreciated. Maybe that was his wish rather than reaching heaven. Grandfather realized he wouldn't be able to complete his research, and maybe he was trying to find where he could compromise. Humans can't build a tower that reaches heaven, but the story of the Tower of Babel is still around. It didn't reach heaven, but we still tell the story of the tower that challenged God. According to the story, the tower was left behind with nobody to work on it. The incomplete tower stayed in that place for a long time, never achieving its goal. But if someone were to see it, they would realize how great it was that someone accepted that challenge and praised their name. I took over the tower from my grandfather and tried to make it reach heaven, but I ended up succumbing to the same fate. And if it's going to be destroyed anyway, I will try to destroy it myself. What am I doing anyway? If I hadn't tried to continue grandfather's research, his work on Hinamizawa syndrome would have remained forever. Even if it was an empty tower that nobody visited, if somebody did come by, they would praise whoever attempted that challenge. They would have praised my grandfather. But I took over his work, and I built a tower even closer to heaven, which made God angry, and the tower is now going to be destroyed. The tower will become a pile of rubble. When the Idia Institute is shut down, all of its records will be destroyed. My grandfather's wish for his work to be appreciated by someone will never be granted. I tried to make my grandfather an eternal existence, yet I ended up making that an impossibility. How can I call myself Mio Takano? Instead of inheriting the 1, 2, 3 from my grandfather and continuing the count to 3, 4, I reduced it all to 0. If it wasn't for me, my grandfather's work would have remained an empty tower. It would have stayed in this world forever. But I ruined it. I did that. I can feel myself sweating. The sweat reminds me that I've done something inexorable. When did I make a mistake? Where did I go wrong? It wasn't when I came here. It was before that. I started to walk down the wrong path long before that. If I put myself in my grandfather's spot, I know. My grandfather was working on a great challenge. He built a mighty tower, and it was supposed to continue to stand there and wait for someone to appreciate it. Grandfather definitely said he wanted his work to be valued by someone, even after his death. But I misunderstood. Somewhere along the way, I made a wrong turn. I misinterpreted Grandfather's wish, and I ruined it. I ruined everything. I tried to make him an eternal existence, yet I destroyed him. Grandfather built an eternal tower, yet I razed it. Where did I make a mistake? What went wrong? It's obvious! My grandfather counted to 3, and with that it was complete. I simply tried to do more with addition, and everything collapsed, and now all of it is ruined. I shouldn't have tried to count to 4. I shouldn't have done anything. Besides, Grandfather didn't even ask me to continue his research. Oh, so now she realizes. A little girl shouldn't play in this dark study. Go outside and play with your friends. I remember my grandfather telling me things like that. But I refused, and I stayed in the study so I could help him. And eventually, he stopped telling me to play outside and just enjoyed having my company while he worked. But when we first met, he used to say things like that. Then, what? Living with Grandpa was the first mistake I made. Then what? When I escaped the orphanage, I shouldn't have called Grandpa. I shouldn't have found a 10-yen coin. I shouldn't have asked Grandpa to help me. Now I remember. I know where I belong. A noise of something metal striking something else is getting closer. It's getting closer and closer. I'm not allowed to fall asleep. I wasn't asleep. I just had my eyes closed, that's all. Sorry. Darn you! I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I'm sorry.
Come on! Dang it!
Don't kick! I'm afraid of the metal sound. Please, don't kick it. I'm not being kicked, but the noise is kicking me. So please, don't kick. Please don't kick the metal fence. Please! My body's getting cracked. I think my body is getting cracked. All the dirty, itchy, and painful things soak into those cracks, and the filth and prickling feeling feel horrible. It's soaking into my chest, gathering together. I desperately try to resist so that it won't touch my heart, but the dirtiness and itching draw together more and more. My whole chest is soaked, and soon enough my face will be swallowed. Even drowning in this dirtiness and itching, I try desperately to hold my breath so that at least my heart won't be soaked with it.
Dang it!
I can't hold my breath any longer. I drown in an ocean of muck. And yet, as I'm taking on the muck, my heart desperately struggles not to be tainted by it, to rise above it until my heart, too, sinks into the sea of grime.
Girly Pop is like childhood trauma pinata, yeah, for sure. She had a pretty awful past. But that does not excuse her actions.
Only creatures that have lived on land will gasp and suffer the pain of drowning as long as they return to dry land. Creatures that have always lived in the ocean never drown. Grandpa won't come help me. That is the best thing for him and me both. I am. See, when I stop struggling, there is no more noise. I don't have to hear that scary metal noise. Is it a roar or a yell? I needed to borrow strength to scream in order to come back to the present world. My body is all sweaty. It feels dirty, itchy, and painful. It reminds me of that day. I can feel welts coming on as the sweat crawls down my skin.
No, it's just a delusion. It can't be itchy, because all of that is long over. I take a bath every day. I scrub my body until it turns raw and red. So not even the slightest drop of that horrible filth could possibly remain. I can't help it. I remember the filth. I can only get rid of it by scratching my arm so hard it leaves marks. I can't get rid of the itching. I can't get rid of the filth. Of course I can't. I am a filthy existence. Grandpa should have never saved someone like me. Meeting him made him unhappy. I shouldn't have existed. I shouldn't have been born. I should have stayed inside that metal fence and spent my whole life there. I need to go back inside it. I should have never left. That place is where I belong. Corner me with that horrible metal noise. Crush me with that filth, itchiness, and pain. And then kill me, so that I'll never meet Grandpa. Is that your wish? Yes. Much like those left behind at the top of Babel's crumbling tower, or Icarus, unable to reach heaven only to fall. That is my final wish. Bring me back inside that metal fence, and give me back the fate that's suitable for my filthy existence. The wish of a liar will never come true. But I'm not a liar. Hi, Draven, how are you? I'm doing good. I'm a little out of practice with reading out loud for extended periods of time, but that's okay. We gotta get back into it. Hope you had a great Christmas, if you celebrate, and if not, you know, it's still a vacation day, surely. You've spoken your true wish once, yet you have yet to realize that it's your greatest. That's your greatest wish, and I cannot grant that wish just yet. Are you saying that's the punishment we sinful humans face for challenging God? You should already know. The strength of your desire is what creates the future. You lack that strength. God, Are you saying I haven't tainted myself enough? Will even the gates of hell remain shut for someone not fully committed like me? Rika-chan, Satoko-chan, how are you feeling? It's Irie. Zakasaka-san warned me. I have to be careful. Akasaka-san opened the door silently. How are you doing? It's bustling outside, huh? Yeah, everyone is busy getting ready for tomorrow's festival. I brought some shaved ice for you, courtesy of the refreshment stand committee. Let's have some. Thank you for that. I'll have some. Akasaka-san is wearing a t-shirt, but he's still drenched in sweat. All the windows have been shut, and he can't even open the curtains, so it's very hot inside. But even accounting for that, he's still sweating like mad. Look at how sweaty you are. It sure is hot in here. No, I was exercising a little. Of course, I try to keep very quiet. I'm just staying prepared for anything, that's all. A little exercise helps to refresh people. I'm sure you've been under a lot of stress for the past few days. You must be exhausted mentally, too. No, I'm used to this kind of thing. But I really appreciate you bringing in some stuff. Akasaka-san smiled like a happy child as he ate the strawberry-flavored shaved ice. If hot, just stick head in the fridge. So, has there been anything yet? Have you heard from Tomitake-san? No, nothing yet. Ah, but Takano-san was saying that she can't get a hold of him. That's right. He changed his hotel, huh? Do you think she's noticed something? No, I don't think she has. I told her he's probably just going around taking pictures. But it's only a matter of time before she becomes suspicious. There will be a strong wind, soon, one way or another. Dr. Irie, please be very careful. Yeah, of course. Oh, by the way, I just saw Oishi-san, and he told me to tell you something. I explained the 48-hour operation to Akasaka-san. Akasaka-san seemed impressed with the notion, especially because I told him it came from the girls. The girls and Keiichi? That's a fantastic idea. That'll shake up our enemy quite a bit. It'll give Tomitake-san a big opportunity to find something too. So, when is the operation going to take place? That'll be decided when they meet with Oishi-san tonight. But since we don't have much time, it may be as early as tomorrow morning. I see. It's pretty stressful just waiting for a battle to begin. If there's something we can do, we might as well just do it.
Your time in Hinamizawa is limited too. So, how much longer can you stay? I told Yukie that I should be home by midnight on Sunday, but if the situation changes, I might have to stay here longer. She's a policeman's wife. She'll understand. You can't even call her from here, huh? Sorry to put you in this situation. Don't worry. It's not like we're newlyweds. She won't divorce me just for not calling her every night. Although he says that, it's easy to tell that Akasaka-san wants to hear the sound of her voice. So, have there been any changes on your end? If there's anything you need, I'll bring it. I really don't need anything yet. Any changes? Well, it's hard to say. There are just too many people going in and out for the festival. Even if there's someone suspicious among them, I can't tell. We should assume our enemies are hidden among them, so we should be on our guard. That sounds about right. By the way, the mountain dogs are starting to move, just as you said. When I asked Okonogi about their plans, he said he's raising the security level for the days surrounding the festival to take into account the possibility that some criminal might use the 5th year of the curse to target Rika-chan. That matches with the situation right now. It almost looks like all the preparations, officially and unofficially, are going smoothly for tomorrow's festival. So you're saying tomorrow is going to be a festival in more ways than one, then? If the 48-hour operation gets underway tomorrow morning, it'll be quite the turbulent day. Yes, everything will change. What? Starting tomorrow, June 19th, 1983. A tempestuous day that divides a peaceful world from a tragic one. The fate of the world will change on that day. I finished my secret meeting with Akasaka-san and left while calling up to the second-floor window, pretending to address the girls. When some villagers saw me do that, they asked how they were doing. They asked me about both girls, which made me very happy. What Oryo-san said yesterday has already spread among the villagers. In other words, the curse of Oyashiro-sama may have already been lifted even before tomorrow's festival. If nothing happens tomorrow, then this village is finally free from the curse and the ghost of the damned conflict. As we prepare for the upcoming battle, I realize the extent of that responsibility we've taken on. But at the same time, that gives me strength. After greeting officials under the main tent, I ran into Takano-san as I headed back to the clinic. It's unusual for her to be here alone. If Tomitake-san was with her, I could understand, but she'd never come here by herself. For a moment, I thought maybe she suspected a connection between me and Akasaka-san, but it doesn't seem that way. I'm relieved. This is unusual. Oh, this is unusual. What are you doing here? Nothing, really. I'm just taking a walk. I see. It's a nice day today. I bet it's a perfect day for taking a walk. I wonder if Jiro-san is taking a walk too. Those words had a strange nuance to them. Takano-san normally only spends time with Tomitake-san out of politeness. At least, that's how she's been acting, so when I heard her say that, I was a little surprised. Maybe so. He's from Tokyo. I'm sure he's enjoying the fresh air and the beauty of Hinamizawa. Director, do you have any idea where Jiro-san went? No, I don't. He didn't come to the meeting last night. It was a good thing someone else was there to take his place, but he should have been there. He's neglecting his job, don't you think? This is going in the wrong direction. I have to change the subject. Well, I'm sure he needed a little break. I bet he wanted to be alone. Just like you. Yeah, I can see that. I think that went well. She didn't ask about Tomitake-san after that. When I look around, I can imagine how lavish the festival is going to be tomorrow. Watanagashi is the biggest festival of the year around here. It's grown in scale ever since the damn conflict ended, and this year the village festival is hitting a peak. I'm sure villagers of all ages will enjoy themselves tomorrow. Takano-san and I overlooked that heartwarming scene. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it will be fun. Conversation was very ironic. We both meant something different as we spoke. I can hardly wait for the festival to start. Yeah, a fun festival is about to begin. I noticed an indescribably bitter smile on her face. I hope it'll be a nice day tomorrow. After all these preparations, it'll be a shame if it rains. They work so hard to prepare for this grand festival. A little rain won't stop them. Yeah, I guess. There'll be a festival no matter no matter the weather, huh?
Yes, there will be a grand festival. I'm sure of it.
Oishi-san had agreed to participate. In other words, he had given us the green light.
Good job. I bet you had some difficulties.
Nah, not really. They actually agreed pretty easily. Boy, how nice it is to be young. I was the only one who struggled to make a decision. Pitiful, huh? We can't turn back anymore. I'll give it everything I have.
Oishi-san was always a man with great presence. He seemed pretty reliable when he's that determined. This'll work. This operation will be a success. The enemy is unthinkably strong, but we're going on the offensive first. It's like in sumo, right? No matter how huge the opponent may be, there's a chance the entire match can be settled in an instant with a quick shift in stance during the opening rush. See, Rika? Doesn't it feel reassuring to have this many people on your side?
I don't intend on refuting you anymore. I was almost ready to give up just a few days ago, but now I can't believe how much the situation has evolved. It just might be possible to change our fate after all.
Rika, that's not good enough.
You're right. I shouldn't say that we might change our fate. We will change it. We will win. We will defeat fate. In any case, the timing of our trap is extremely important.
What do you mean timing? We should act immediately. Tonight it'll have been 48 hours since Rika-chan disappeared. The longer we wait, the better the position the enemy will be in, so we have to act as soon as possible.
That's true. If we're too careful, that'll give them more time. Our defense ought to be cautious, but our offense ought to be bold.
It's very reassuring to have both of your seals of approval. So what about it, everyone?
No objections. I've steeled my resolve. I'm ready anytime.
Is it time yet? What do you think, Satoko?
We should go with haste, of course, but right now maybe a little too hasty. If we're to surprise them, I think we should do it more carefully.
A surprise attack should take place at night. Is there any better timing than now? Calm down. You're both right. Surprise attacks usually do happen at night. But look at us now. We're still up even though it's that dark outside, right? Night attacks are more effective when there's no electricity. Nowadays, surprise attacks don't always have to take place in the middle of the night. There's an even better time than that. Is there really a better time for a surprise attack? Oh!
I understand. A daybreak sortie, right?
Oh, you know some interesting terms, don't you? It's true that the worst time to call someone is not the middle of the night, but early in the morning. People can't even think straight when they're half asleep.
A surprise attack at dawn! Yeah, that's a great time to do it!
Yeah, I think that'll be the most effective. Knowing how Takano-san is, it's more than likely she'll do something to make it look like a 5th year's curse. And she'll try it tomorrow night. It's normal to try to get plenty of sleep the night before.
Oh, I now know the perfect time to spring my traps.
A surprise attack at dawn! Man, that sounds awesome! I've always wanted to do something like that. I'm fired up! You're just like my men, Maebara-san. Hey, does that mean I'm the only man involved who wasn't psyched? My oh my. Alright, ready then? The 48-hour operation commences tomorrow at dawn. The question is how they will react. We'll be confusing them, and once we see their response, we'll attack. This is a raid. Okay. As the leader of this club, I now decree that the 48-hour operation is now in effect. We will carry out our tasks at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. It'll get busy all of a sudden. All members should be ready for an immediate response. Prepare yourselves physically and mentally. And don't forget, the fate of Hinamizawa rides on this battle. The enemy's conspiracy could end up destroying the village. Huh. We'll never let that happen.
Well, we'll see how the enemy will react. Will they become demons or serpents?
Meep. Maybe they'll become kittens.
Oh, how cute of them.
I don't think so. Something huge will happen for sure. This is like a little earthquake. One that's a forewarning of a huge tsunami.
You're right. I feel that little earthquake too. But we'll create that huge tsunami, and either the village or the enemy will be swallowed by it.
We'll ride that huge wave for as long as we can. This 48-hour operation will be a shock to the enemy. They'll panic, their pace will be off, and they'll be guaranteed to slip up somehow. We don't know how they're going to slip up, but just knowing that they will and preparing ourselves to act gives us the full advantage. We're surrounding our enemies on this huge game board that is Hinamizawa. This game, this festival, will start with our siege. Come on, we're ready! We're ready for June 19th, 1983.
Hey, Rika. Have this many emotions ever gathered on this day?
Actually, there were always this many emotions in the world. There were always countless numbers of them gathered on this forgotten June 19th. We just never realized it because we always looked at the world subjectively. There are so many people in this world, and each of them has very important emotions. Those countless feelings are collecting together and giving shape to this world, this fragment. With this many emotions, what kind of world will we see? What kind of fragment will we be granted? Who will win, Takano or us? The time to find out is now. Let's open it. Let's open the door to June 19th of 1983. Oh, the buildup is crazy. But I do not think my voice can handle another chapter, especially if it's gonna be long. So, we will stop Higurashi here for today.